Okay, so this is my final impersonal communications project. So my research question and test is, how do cultural differences influence perceptions of effective interpersonal communication in multicultural teams? What are some of the benefits of being aware of communication to other cultures is over enhanced communication, improved empathy, building trust, and improved adaptability and flexibility. First, we need to understand cultural awareness. According to the Aramfro Educational Foundation, cultural awareness refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and appreciate the differences as well as similarities between certain cultures. What is the impact of cultural differences? First of all, we were influenced by our culture on how to communicate, as stated by Lindsay LaPlaquette. So, talking to someone from their culture is what would be to most people coming out of their comfort zone. Not being aware leads to communication problems. Barriers to cross cultural communication, such as language differences, nonverbal signals, stereotypes, and cultural values. There, of course, is some cultural boundaries. According to the JR Language Translation Services, cultural boundaries are the invisible lines separating groups of people based on shared traits like language, religion, ethnicity, customs, and values that influence social interactions and create identity. Our cultures might not have gestures that we might not understand. An experiment I came up is a really good experiment that could be tested is seeing the quality of comfortable communication between different cultures. It would be a 2 week long experiment. The first week would focus on the control phase. I would interact with people as I normally do, just out in public in general without just like consciously thinking or adjusting for people that have cultural differences compared to ours. The second week, however, would be the experimental phase where I would focus and intentionally adapt my communication style based on the other person's cultural norms. For example, I would adapt to their gestures, their way of communication, their posture, and their tone, and the way they speak. I would track my data by listening to people who I spoke to, their general background, not like personally how they identify. I would have I would write down the cultural considerations I have applied during that conversation. I would write down the comfort level of the interaction based on a scale of 1 to 5. I would have a perceived comfort of the other person, also on a scale of 1 to 5. I would write down any notes of the other person's like signs of misunderstanding or like unease, and I would also note the overall effectiveness of the communication from a scale of 1 to 5. In conclusion, I think this experiment examines how awareness and respect for cultural boundaries influences interpersonal communication. By using natural communication, which would be something I would use on a normal basis, and later using culturally mindful communication to help with cross cultural barriers. Overall, I think this experiment is going to be a useful tool to help me be a better communicator with someone from their culture in a different background.